So I was in a King's yesterday to pick up a battery for the caravan, and I also picked up this little sandwich maker that I've been wanting to test out. It's a little 12-volt sandwich maker. So I thought what we would do is we would cook up some bacon on this and give it a bit of a test to see how it performs. Now, to tell you the truth, last night I actually cooked up some tofu on this, and it actually cooked really, really well. So we're going to do some bacon on this, but we're going to use it as a grill. Now, a couple of things I want to go through before we start cooking of what I like and I guess what I dislike about it. And there's one thing I think this needs improvement, and that is with this cable. So this cable here, well, the cable management is not really that good. I would have liked to have seen this cable sheathed like this to make it a lot neater. Now, the other thing that I find with this is when I go to plug it into some power, so we're running it off this battery box. We're going to have a look at this in a second. So we plug that into there. It doesn't give us a huge amount of lead to get it out the way, and when I open it up as a grill, you can see the lead is really at its almost full extension. So if Kings are watching this, if we can get a slightly longer cable, I think that would be a really good upgrade in the next model that they do, because I think this is its first version. The other thing I originally didn't like is, if you follow my channel, you know I don't like using these style of fuse holders over 15 amps. Well, this fuse here is actually 40 amps. But testing this last night and just before, it's actually not too bad. It gets a little warm, but it actually works. So maybe that's okay. I still would have liked to seen a different, slightly higher capacity fuse on that. So other than that, it's actually not a little bad unit for the couple of little dry test runs that I put on it. So let's have a look at the specifications on the back. If I can flip this over, trying to do this with one hand. So our specifications on the back, well, it's a 12-volt device, so running on 12-volt. Its power draw is 300 watts, so you divide your wattage by your voltage, and that's going to give you current draw. So we're going to be running roughly at about 12.8 to 13 volts, so we divide that by 300, and that's going to give us our current draw. The maximum temperature this goes up to is 180 degrees before the thermostat cuts out. I've done some testing on that, and it does get up to 180 degrees, and the thermostat cuts out, which is good, so it's working properly. Made in China. Everything's made in China now, so we're not worried too much about that. Okay, so let me get the bacon out. Let's give this... Oops, sorry, I knocked the button on the phone. Let's get the bacon out and let's give this a test. So while I've got the microwave just defrosting the bacon that I took out of the freezer, we're going to be running the little sandwich maker off this battery box here. And in the battery box inside it has that 60 amp hour battery that I tore down and did a video on. So people who watch my channel will know this battery. We had a few issues with it, which it's not about this battery, so I'm going to go into it in this video. Having said that, with the issues I've had, it's been in here, it's been running in here without a problem. Charges up, balances fine, hasn't really been an issue. But that's what we're going to be using in our test, this 60 amp hour lithium battery in this battery box here. Okay, let me just get the lid on. I think that bacon is defrost now. Let me get it out of the microwave and let's start cooking. So I guess the first thing we need to do before we put our bacon on is turn this on and preheat that hot plate. So I've given it a little bit of a spray with the canola oil. So I'm going to turn it on. We're going to have a look to see how much power it's going to draw. So that's our battery voltage. So our battery voltage is sitting at 12.8 volts. We're drawing 27 amps and 345 watts. That will settle down a little bit, so that will drop down to about 330 watts once that heats up and gets going. So
12 seconds later.
like any 12-volt device, they do take time to heat up. So this is not going to compete with a mains power sandwich maker that's 1800 2 kilowatt sandwich maker, because we're only running 330 watts. So bear that in mind. It's like the little Travel Buddy ovens. They work really well, but they're a low wattage, so they do take a little bit longer. Okay, so I'm going to put the bacon on. So we'll chuck the bacon on, and we're going to see how well. Let's put that on this side. I'm going to put this one on this side, as it's raining outside at the moment. Lovely day to be inside cooking. We'll cook that up and we'll see how well the bacon goes. So we can see our wattage has dropped down to 325 watts, which is our 25 amps at 12.75 volts. I'm going to let this run a little bit longer, and then we're going to do a temperature test on this fuse to see what the temperature gets up to.
A few moments later.
So we've been running for around about the 3 or 4 minute mark now, and you can hear it sizzling away, so it's cooking nicely. So let's do a temperature test on this unit. So we've got 118 degrees there, 78. What I've found is this right hand side here, it does run a little bit cooler depending on where it is, because it's got an element inside it. So this right side runs a little bit cooler than that side. Now the plate it feels like a very light aluminium plate with a Teflon coating. So it's not a very thick plate, nor does it need to be, because if it's too thick, it's not really going to be able to heat up properly. So it's a reasonably thin Teflon coated aluminium, well, it feels like aluminium plate in there. So I don't know how long it's going to last, but hey, time will tell. And I'll certainly let you know how this goes. So let's have a look at our temperature of our fuse. So we're looking at about 46 degrees. I've got that point in the fuse. So we go down, I go down into the fuse post down in there. We've got about, what did I come up with? There was one point I got to about 46 degrees. So 46 degrees is what I've seen as a maximum temperature on that fuse. When I'm putting my hand on it, it's actually not too bad. So I'm actually quite surprised at the 25 amps we're pulling through that fuse holder is actually staying quite cool, considering what I've seen with other brands of fuse holders. So that's actually not too bad. The cable itself isn't hot, other than you can feel the heat sort of coming up from the hot plate, because the cable really needs to be a little bit longer. We could put an extension cable and so on it. After about 5 minutes, I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to have a look. You can see it's browning that. I'm going to do it quick because that's hot. Let's have a look at this side. You can see the ribs, yeah, so she's browning it up. So it's how hot. I don't think you would get the bacon really crispy, crunchy, extremely well done bacon on this. But this is not what that's designed for. It's a sandwich maker, and once we've cooked our bacon, we're actually going to put some bread in it, and we'll take it over to sandwich maker mode and see how well it cooks the bread. So let me just go ahead and do the other side of this bacon. Now stay tuned to the end of the video for my regular loyal subscribers, because we'll have a look very quickly at that battery that I bought for the Caravan, the King's 100 amp hour one. So stay tuned to the end of the video. Okay, so it's been about another minute, 2 minutes, and that's about as much as I'm going to get with that cooking, and for me, I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to put this on some bread. We're going to make some toast, and this is a little bit that I screwed up in the last video, because I only used one loaf of bread, piece of bread, and I should have used two. Hence is why I need to now go and reshoot that video. So we've got our bread there. I'm going to put that in there like that. I'm going to put this bit of bread on top. So we're going to use it in sandwich maker mode, which is really what this was designed for. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. Let me just grab this for a sec. There we go. That's not too bad. Okay, I'm going to run this as a sandwich maker mode, and we're going to see how well it cooks the bread on sandwich maker mode. And when the thermostat turns off, we're going to do a temperature test to see what temperature the hot plate is when that thermostat turns off. Right, the thermostat hasn't turned off yet, but I want to have a bit of a look and see how we're going, just to keep an eye on it. I've got some steam coming up here. I did have frozen bread, which I defrosted prior to putting in. So I am going to expect to get a little bit of, that's hot. Yeah, that's not too bad. Let's have a look. What's the temperature of it? There we go. Thermostat just went click. 180 degrees. Let's just check to see the light's off, so the thermostat's just shut down, so which is good. So 180 degrees in there. So looking at all the different areas, depending on where the element is. And over here, yeah, so it is reaching the temperature as advertised. I'm going to give it another couple of minutes.
A few inches later.
It's kind of, hang on a sec. I'm burning my hands here. Quickly go across to here. Try and get into some shade there because the reflection's whitening this up. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with that. We're not going to be cooking hang on. This is the issue with the cable. So if Kings are watching, the cable is just a little bit too short. Let me just move that out of the way. So if we could get a slightly longer cable here, that would be ideal. I believe that's silicon cable actually. Let's have a look at our current draw. So we've got 319 watts, 24.9 amps, and that is our voltage. For all you technical people, I'm going to turn that off now because I am done cooking. What I'd like to try next is get some sausages, put some sausages in here, close it up into sandwich maker mode. I'm pretty confident by the couple of cooks I've already done in this prior that it would cook sausages quite nicely. So I think for a 12 volt device or appliance, this will sit in nicely with the travel oven as a 12 volt device and work very nicely in the caravan. So for the testing I've done so far with this last night with the tofu and a couple of goes at this morning, I could have done some bacon and eggs too. That would have been good. I'm going to give it a thumbs up so far. It seems to work as advertised and actually work not too bad. It's not fast, but it's not a high wattage. So if you're wanting something fast that's going to burn things to a crisp, then get yourself a mains powered one. But for camping in the caravan, I certainly wouldn't go past looking at one of those. So a bit of extra content at the end of the video for the people that regularly follow my videos and watch the videos to the end. This is the Kings battery that I have bought for the caravan. That's got to go into the caravan. I did have the 120 amp hour in the caravan, but that actually was 120 amp hour from the 24 volt system that went into the van when I went away. So I really didn't have a dedicated lithium battery for the van. So I've grabbed myself one of those. Again, they were on special, as they do. These newer ones apparently have prismatic cells in them. The older ones, like my older 100 amp hour, has pouch cells. I'd like to pull one of these apart and have a look inside it, but I'm not going to do that because this is going to be permanently in the caravan. I don't want to go pulling it apart, considering it's going to be bouncing around on rough roads. So I've got it charging at the moment. I will do a battery capacity test on it. So I've got it charging up on the 12 volt system. We've got rain at the moment, so I'm only getting about one amp in on the 12 volt system because it's just overcast and rain. Always the way when you want to do a video on solar. We're getting 4 amps in. Oops. See if we can see that a bit better. There we go. We're getting 4 amps in on our 24 volt system. What's our 24 volt system? Is sitting at 67% state of charge. And the 48 volt system, well, I'm not going to worry about showing that because that's really not what this video is about. So a little bit of extra content for the people that watch my videos all the way through. And we will do a battery capacity test on this at a later date to make sure this is giving us our true 100 amp hours. Righto, so I am armed with my bacon sandwich cooked on the Kings sandwich maker. So if you're liking this video, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and wait for the next awesome video to be coming out. on the Off Grid channel.